So right out of college, we got married, and Bill was working, and I was a teacher's aide for a couple of years before we had our first. We were married about 3 years. So we really felt like 4 was good, and we were done. We never talked about adopting.
No.
We were so good, 2 girls, 2 boys.
Yeah.
Just in times of quiet, I would hear about adoption, or on the radio someone would talk about adoption, or songs in church or scriptures. It was just adoption was everywhere. And I started saying to Bill, I really think God is leading us into adoption.
When she first brought it up, I thought she was crazy because, we were at this stage of life where the kids were more independent and we were, able to go out on date nights. But I started praying about it, and one morning I got up earlier than Lynette, and a friend of ours posted a video on Facebook, and it was basically a sermon or a message on adopting and orphans and God's heart for the orphan. And, kind of the climax of the video, he describes if that was his son, over there sitting in a dirt road with nobody to take care of him and didn't know what was going on and all this stuff. And, he said, what if that was my son? And so, of course, as parents, you put your own kids in those places. And so I'd think of Peyton or Cooper. And he said I would tear through a wall to get to him, or I'd call my friends and say, if you care about me at all, you'll go get my son. It was just kind of sitting there in my face like, okay, God's saying, this is my son. What are you going to do? I need you to go get him. Anyway, I went upstairs and, Lynette was in bed, and I said, I'm in. Let's do this.
And one of the things that was really impactful for me, and I think for you too when you look back on it, is Orphan Sunday. And our church did a big kind of promotion of Orphan Sunday. So they had people come and talk about foster care and adoption and sponsoring a child overseas. And at one point, they had every family in our church stand up and line, the front of the stage, the platform, if you were adopted. And we were just shocked. I mean, it was just a stage full of children that are friends with our kids and some we didn't know,
Right.
and then adults who've grown up in the church that were adopted, and so they were grandparents. And that really was a big thing for me to see this is the body we can do this in with more people than we had any idea.
Yeah. One of the big things for us, and especially with going with Bethany in the first place, was their post-placement support. So our caseworker was great. I still remember when Allison, called me at work and said, congratulations, you have a son. And that was amazing.
Mm-hmm. And we actually met him over Skype.
Yeah.
Once it was far enough in the process, we contacted his orphanage down in Africa, and we set up a time where we sat here on the couch and sat in front of the camera, and they brought him in, and I just felt like, well, there's our son. And I think he even asked us in his sweet little voice, we said, do you know who we are? And he said, you're my mom and dad. And what was great for us is when you adopt from South Africa, you stay there for 6 weeks and you come home together. So we had 6 weeks of bonding with him and felt really connected, and it was a great experience. So when we came home, he was all about the kids.
Yeah.
We were really glad we had
done
that
with us.
time.
He was like, see you later.
Right. We're so thankful. I mean, that's what his name is. His African name is Asabangwe, which means we are thankful. And that's his name his birth mom gave him, and we've chosen to keep that. And it's just so fits. I mean, we are so thankful for this little boy.
He's not our adopted son, he's our son.